Hey everybody, it's Thursday and you're watching TheManlyPotsies. I hope everyone has had a great week. Mine's been all over the board. I actually had a couple of decent days along with a few pretty darn nasty ones, but I guess you'll have that, so I'll certainly take the good ones. Today I am uber busy. I'm recording, editing, and uploading this video. I hate Windows Movie Maker. I have a doctor's appointment. I'm finishing up a directional UHF antenna for one of my friends. I have to back up my computer. And God, there's a ton of stuff that I have to do. I gotta get a hold of Frank. This is just an insane day. So I'm going to, once again, try to make this video short. We'll see how that goes. And that's why I'm going to be talking fast for the majority of it. Anyway, other than all that craziness, I'm really not that symptomatic today, other than feeling tired. And I'm also pretty brain foggy, so that's basically it for me. Anyway, on to the questions. Andrew, you asked, are there foods that make you feel worse or foods that make you feel better? I mean, there's a lot of foods that I avoid. I'm not eating sugar. I'm not eating wheat except for every once in a while if I'm out and I have no other options, but I was advised to try and avoid it as much as possible by a nutritionist, so I'm doing that. Anyway, in terms of ones that I've actually noticed that make me feel worse or better, nothing really makes me feel better, although if I don't eat for a while, so I have no food in my stomach, it increases all of my GI symptoms like 100-fold. If I go more than 5 or 6 hours without eating, usually I end up feeling terrible. And I have to fill up my stomach in order to feel better, and it's usually almost instantaneous. Within a minute or two of starting to eat, I feel better. No idea what in the world that would be. I don't think it's really related to POTS. It's probably some secondary thing, but I have to keep food in myself. So, there are a couple foods that I've noticed that do seem to give me symptoms. Most of them don't always do it, though. Like, if I eat peanuts or peanut butter, I can usually do it once a week without a problem, but if I eat it multiple days in a row or a large quantity of it, it really increases my symptoms. I usually get a headache, and I feel very tachycardic and also fatigued more than usual, so don't know. Real quick, actually, since we're talking about food, ladies, I had a Larabar or a Lorabar, or however you pronounce it, for the first time yesterday. My mom just happened to see one when she was up at Anderson's and grabbed it. It was apple pie flavor. Yeah, that thing was like taste bud orgasmic. It was fantastic. So I know that you guys have eaten those before, and I just wanted to point out that, yeah, that's pretty good stuff. So, anyway, Dave, you asked, after a stressful situation, how long do you remain symptomatic from it, and what kind of symptoms do you get that flare up? That obviously depends on the severity of the stress, but I assume you're talking about pretty heavy stress. So when I get really, really bogged down with stuff and just feel utterly stressed out beyond belief, I usually get very, very brain foggy and also significantly more dizzy. And if I continue to feel stressed, once those symptoms start to increase, it snowballs, and almost all of my other symptoms will jack themselves up, and then it takes a long time to come back down off of that. So it really kind of depends on how long I'm feeling stressed out for as to how long it takes to come back down off of it. Usually just a day or two after the stress stops, I start to feel better. I start feeling back to baseline normal or whatever. So, yeah, that's basically it. It does take a little while, usually a day or two. So, Frank, you asked, do you have any family members that take care of you? Yes, I've mentioned before that I live with my parents. That's actually my mom and my stepdad. My father lives about 60 miles away from here, and I only see him every couple of months or so, unfortunately, but we talk on the phone. So, but my mom has really been the one that has taken care of me and, you know, helps me out all the time. So, yeah, they're pretty good. And unfortunately, I wanted to have at least my mom on camera, but she's in town at the moment, so no go on that. But yeah. Oh, and Frank, it was nice to meet your bro. Seems like a good guy, always helping you out like that, so way to go, Jose. DJ, you asked, do you have trouble talking when you are symptomatic? Yes, very much so. I can't remember where I mentioned this before. It might have been on a comment on the girls' channel or something, but when I get very symptomatic, I start only having enough energy to kind of speak in monotone. I can't project like I am right now, and, you know, I don't put any force into the words. I don't use hand gestures. I just kind of like, I don't feel very good. It's very airy sounding, and I mean, there's no energy there at all. So yes, I definitely have trouble talking when I get a severe symptom flare-up, and that's a bugger too. I hate feeling like that. You just feel completely drained. Oh, and congrats, by the way, DJ. You did actually make it under 10 minutes. You may be the first one of us to ever do that when we're making a short video, so way to go. And I'm also glad to hear that your CAT scan has eased your mind a little bit, at least, about your weight loss. Of course, conversely there, you still don't know what's causing it, so no, it's a double-edged sword that we've all dealt with. To be diagnosed or not to be. Most of us would rather be and know what our bane has been, so... And finally, I know that's the last of the Manly Potsy questions, but Paige actually asked a question that I wanted to attack this week as well. Paige asked, do you like to read? What are a few of the last books that you've read, and what's your opinion on them? So that's a really good question, and while I'm on my way upstairs to answer it, I'll ask my question for the week. So my question pertains to how you feel when you're having a really symptomatic time. And I'm just kind of curious, when you're having a really rough time, when your symptoms are flared up, and you're laid out on the couch or your bed, do you find that being inactive for a day or two tends to make you feel even worse? Because I find that if I lay still or close to still for a day or two, my muscles get extremely sore, almost like I worked out, except obviously it's the opposite of working out. You're extremely inactive. So just curious to know if anybody else had a similar experience as that. So this is one of the bookcases in my room. The other one's in my closet and has about half again as many books as there are on this. Down here some of my favorite novels. I just finished, before Blindness, I finished the Inheritance trilogy, what's out right now, Aragon, Eldest, and Brissinger. I really liked those, nice and slow and kind of like me. Michael Crichton is one of my absolute favorite authors. Jurassic Park, Sphere, Timeline is one of my favorite by him. Joshua by Joseph Grisone is also one of my favorites. It tells about, it kind of sets up what would happen if Jesus were to come back in modern day and be like he was back then. Very humble, very kind,
is a carpenter, things like that, and how he would be treated in modern day. Ishmael, another one of my favorites. The Notebook, which I read years before I even saw the movie. Cried during both. Stephen King, Green Mile, also fantastic, along with Dean Koontz' Watchers, which I do not have here. I think that's probably in the closet. And I've got a Bible and other things like that. That's some of my favorites. So that's it for my video this week. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be blowing anything up or setting things on fire or freezing anything this week. I know, it's really sad. I'll do it some other time, don't worry. So, I hope you can all have a great weekend and a great week next week. Try and keep your chins up, and I'll see you next Thursday. Stay tuned for Andrew tomorrow.